Welcome to this video. What I want to do today is talk to you about 4 ways to get cheap paid website traffic to your site. So here's the thing that people don't understand. Eventually, with the search engines, as good as they are, number one, you're eventually going to saturate your market or come up against a glass ceiling where it's like, man, things are really slowing down. Number two, search engine traffic is the furthest thing from free. You got to pay for it with your time, you got to pay for it with money, with outsourcing, so on and so forth. Whatever your strategy is, it's a time investment, a money investment. And the other thing with search engine traffic is there's a major delay. I mean, you're not exactly going to rank a new site for really competitive keywords in like 3 weeks. So you got a delay, and if you've got a delay in no traffic coming in, you've got a delay in income, right, for your site. So as I love free traffic, but paid traffic is awesome. And I want to share with you 4 strategies you should know right now if you want to get more visitors to your site for cheap. Strategy number 1, you've got to stop being scared of it. Okay, here's the thing. When it comes to getting traffic to your site, you've got to stop playing to not lose and start playing to win. Now what that means is simply this. Stop going out there and just worrying like you're going to be the next victim who's going to get torched by some traffic source or whatever, and you're going to lose everything you own and all that stuff. Start thinking play to win. How can I make this work? How am I going to work? It's worked for literally millions of business owners out there online. I can make this work. It is going to work. It's really a mindset change. And that is very important, because if you're going after it and you're scared you're going to get run over and killed and your internet business is going to get crushed, well, eventually it will. So just understand there's a huge mindset to succeeding on paid traffic. And you got to realize it's not bad. There's a lot of gurus out there who just, always talk about how they only get free traffic and make money off free traffic. That's great, but there's a huge world out there in paid traffic. So that's the first thing you got to do. So second thing you got to do is, this is probably the most important thing, is understand your numbers. When it comes to free traffic, everybody's always initially thinking, how can I just grind out AdWords or MSN or whatever it is for like penny clicks? I mean, get cheap clicks. Well, that's the wrong thing to do. Sure, getting traffic for a penny a click, if you can still get it somewhere on some source, I don't know, is a great idea, and we'd all love that. The problem is your chances are probably pretty good you're not going to make money off it, because if it's cheap, there's a reason nobody's buying it, because the traffic doesn't convert in most cases. So what you want to do is you make it your goal to figure out how to get a return on investment. I like to get 3 to 5 times whatever I invest in paid traffic back in terms of sales. For example, if I invest $1,000 in getting visitors to my site through a paid traffic source, I want to make at least $3,000 to $5,000 back at the very minimum. Sometimes more, depending on the source, the market, and so on and so forth. So I like to see a 300 to 500% return on my investment. So if I pay 30 cents a click, or let's say 40 cents a click to get visitors to my site, and I make $1.50, that's almost a 400% return on my investment. So is that cheaper than buying 1 cent traffic and making 2 cents per visitor off it? Yeah. That's way cheaper. To buy something for 40 cents and get $1.50, that's almost a 400% return. So instead of thinking in cheap, like in terms of cheap garbage, think cheap in terms of, wow, I only have to spend 30 or 40 cents a click and make $1.50 or $2 or $3 a click. That's kind of how you want to do it. So you got to figure out what is your income per visitor, and that's the first metric that is so vitally important, because if you can figure that out, then you can better figure out what cheap traffic for you really is, because it's really different in every market, right? Now, the third thing is, you got to do this next third thing is extremely important. You've got to start with one source. Here's what happens. A lot of internet marketers are like, okay, I got to get paid traffic to my site. I got to make this work, so let's start with Google AdWords, the search end of it. Let's start with the content network. We'll buy banner ad traffic. We'll use MSN Ad Center. We're going to buy Facebook pay-per-click ads. So on and so forth. You got to realize, eventually your goal is to get on all those sources if they make sense for your market. However, what you got to realize, you got to start with one, because if you can't do it on one, you ain't going to do it on the other ones. So make that obviously your ultimate goal is to be diversified across multiple sources. Your initial goal for the next however period of time is to just make one work, and then take some of the profit from that first traffic source and invest that into traffic source number 2, and then number 2 to number 3, 3 to 4, and eventually you've got this this machine rolling and making you hopefully a ton of money. Now, the next secret or the next strategy is start small and scale up. This is extremely important. What most people do is they do it backwards. So what they'll do is they'll go, okay, I'm going to start out with a traffic source, whatever, you pick it, right? And then they're like, okay, I'm going to get like 1,000 visitors a day right away. And so they get 1,000 visitors a day and it's like something happens, it doesn't work. They could have a problem with their site, just something didn't work. And they're like, oh man, I'm like 30 days into this thing, my credit card's maxed out and I'm done. So start small, start with like 50, 100 visitors a day, make those numbers work, right? Because you can always set daily budgets on traffic sources. So like if you use the bigger ones. So you start with a small daily budget, make those numbers work, 100 visitors a day, 150, 50, so on and so forth. And then once you start seeing those numbers working, right, like you're making 3 to 5 times more, boom, then you take that budget off, and that's how you really scale it up. So that's how you hit the jet stream. So that's what you got to do if you want to get more visitors to your site and how to get traffic for cheap. Okay, the bonus strategy I said there's only before, but I'll give you 5, is test and track everything. That's how you make your money, is because if you can figure out where, maybe you have some waste, get rid of those keywords, and figure out where maybe things could be better, how you can increase your conversions. So it's about these little tests, and that's what makes a big difference. So head over to snowballsecrets.com, and what I want to do is give you a free video that shows you how I was able to get over 1.2 million visitors to my niche market websites, and how you can too. So, or click the link below this video. Take care.